We go to Denver, Colorado. We're joined by Mary Kershner. She's a registered nurse, a gun control advocate, founding member of Nurses Advocating Gun Safety. She's lost 3 members of her family to gun violence, 2 in suicide. Mary Kershner, welcome to Democracy Now! Now, we know this news is just breaking. It happened hours ago. It was the midnight premiere of the Batman movie. And so people are just trying to deal with this catastrophe in Aurora. Can you respond, please? I know we woke you up with the news.
Well, thank you very much. And yes, and I apologize. I'm probably going to get emotional, and I'm shaking. I just can't believe this is happening, and I think this is an example where this affects the entire community. And as I'm watching the reports and I'm seeing all the hospitals in the entire area, you know, accepting victims, that this is an example where gun violence just sweeps across the society, because even I first got involved in this when I was an emergency room nurse, 30 years ago. And so this is not just a knee-jerk thing for me. I'm just thinking, if I'm shaking and I'm here safely in my home, I can only imagine everybody that's being impacted by this now. And it's just so devastating for the victims and their families.
You have family in Aurora?
I do. As a matter of fact, I have attended that theater many times. It's probably only 3 miles from my home in Denver.
You have been fighting for gun control for quite some time. Talk about your own family and what you think needs to happen. Again, we have very little information, except that the gunman, he's believed to be white, about 24 years old. This is just the news reports because he is in custody.
Yes. Well, as I mentioned, I got involved long before I experienced gun violence in my own family. As an emergency room nurse, I saw victims of this, and it's such a senseless thing, especially assault weapons. To think that one individual could go into a movie theater and kill 14 people and injure 50, including 3-month-old children. I mean, this is just, I just can't express the words. It's devastating. In my case, as I said, I was already involved in gun safety issues before this happened, but my aunt, who was killed in a murder-suicide, by her husband, her last words to my sister was that she said, "Oh, he would never hurt me." So this is one of those things where guns can be so instantaneous and so lethal. There's just no turning back, and it was a split decision on the part of, her husband to shoot and kill. And I'm sure that's why he took his own life. He had remorse afterwards, but, that we still have, I have cousins without their mother and father, because of one split-second decision, senseless decision on his part.
Well, Mary Kershner, I'd like to ask you, this issue of these mass attacks by gunmen are almost like endemic and unique, really, to the United States. I recall nearly 30 years ago, back in 1984, one of my first national stories was James Huberty walking into a McDonald's in San Ysidro, California, killing about, I think it was 21 people and wounding another 40. And we've had so many of these, the Virginia Tech shooting over the years. Colorado experienced Columbine. Did the state do anything after the Columbine shooting to have any kind of controls on guns within the state?
We actually did, and I was involved in that. In 2000, we passed a background check, which trying to challenge now, but we were, because in the case of Columbine, those gunmen got their, purchases illegally through somebody else. And so they, we made efforts to have background checks done. It's helping. We certainly, it's hard to keep statistics on how many people we kept from being killed. It's hard, it's difficult to do that, but any effort to try to keep these assault weapons off the street is an important one, because you're right, there's just way too many mass killings in this country.